Wes Anderson's signature style is a unique blend of visual and narrative techniques that distinguish his films from those of other contemporary directors. Central to his aesthetic is a meticulous attention to detail, evident in his use of symmetry, colour palettes and design. His frames are often perfectly balanced, creating a sense of order and precision that contrasts with the often chaotic and dysfunctional lives of his characters. Colour plays a crucial role in Anderson's films, with each movie typically featuring a specific colour palette that enhances the story's emotional tone. For instance, The Grand Budapest Hotel employs pink pastels and purples to evoke a whimsical, nostalgic atmosphere, while Moonrise Kingdom uses earthy greens and yellows to reflect the natural setting and youthful innocence of its protagonists. His films feature vibrant, saturated colours. Anderson utilises contrasting colours to create visual interest and highlight specific elements within the frame. Such visual consistency keeps us in the lure of the story and places us where we need to be to follow along. He uses slow motion sequences to highlight key moments, adding dramatic weight or emotional resonance to the scenes. It can also be used to comic effect in his animated or stop-motion films. Another aspect of his cinematography is symmetry. He uses symmetry in shots but also in their opposite angles, for instance when dealing with 2 points of view in dialogue. He uses symmetry in editing, complementary compositions between connected characters or related events and themes. He uses symmetrical shot sizes, symmetrical blocking and staging, symmetrical compositions, symmetrical timing, in which case he calculates everything to the exact frame count. His films often use whip pans and zooms. He uses slow motion shots and a tracking shot. He often uses a bird's eye view to isolate a character or event or focus on an exact detail of text, for example. It is also probably useful at this point to briefly discuss semiotics. Anderson has a distinct and deliberate visual language that, if we can read it, reveals more of what he is trying to say. In semiotics, what we witness in visual art can be broken down into 2 components, the signifier and the signified. A typical example would be smoke as a signifier of the signified fire. We see this in our daily lives through iconography and signage. Warning signs of roadworks ahead in a particular geographic location do not require a knowledge of the local lingua franca. A simple icon of a smouldering cigarette surrounded by a red circle with a strike through is understood in any part of the world as a non-smoking sign. Similarly, a red light means stop. Brightly coloured birds, insects and flora within the animal kingdom often warn of a potentially poisonous hazard as the prey's defence mechanism. So what are the connotations in cinematic terms? In the Darjeeling Limited, we know that the baggage being carried and subsequently discarded in the train-chasing scenes which bookend the film are emblematic of the brothers coming to terms with and letting go of the emotional baggage left to them by their late father. This recognition does not require verbalization as such. It is understood in an innate visual manner. Colours similarly can tell us much about the film's direction and mood. Colour can be used to foreshadow a coming event. Many directors use a muted colour palette so that when a vibrant primary hue dominates, we know something significant is afoot. In Bottle Rocket, the 3 leads wear yellow at one point, perhaps demonstrating that they have bought into the protagonist's vision and plan. Symbolism and this visual language allows us to derive meaning from art. Even if we don't articulate it, we will be left with a sense of or an impression of what the auteur is trying to communicate to us. And then we come to the director's mise-en-scène, which basically means what's in the shot. Trinkets and various props are also important storytelling devices here. Quirky, old-fashioned knickknacks are used as totems and to guide and orient us. Retro-looking cameras, compasses, letters, telephones, postcards and suitcases, as well as maps, diaries and journals, signal to us a deeper meaning for the characters or a suggested direction that the protagonist may take on their journey. These are often referred to as tchotchkes within the set design and mise-en-scène. Vintage luggage and suitcases often appear as props and are used to symbolize a character's journey or transition. Typewriters frequently feature in Anderson's films, and they serve as a nod to the past and to the overall retro and literary aesthetic of the film. Anderson's characters are often avid readers, and books are frequently used as props or plot devices in his movies. His movies often feature animals as central characters, such as the foxes in Fantastic Mr. Fox or the dogs in Isle of Dogs. We also have record players and vinyl records. These are frequently used as props in his movies and often serve as a way to convey the character's personality or mood by way of music and the medium it is being played through. Vintage telephones are often used and convey a sense of nostalgia and a connection to the past. Anderson likes having his characters sitting in chairs, delivering important exposition by way of telephone conversations, sometimes with a split screen or alternating complementary symmetrical compositions. Often, the actual setting off on the hero's journey is explained with a physical map. He shares a similarity with Pedro Almodovar in terms of his detailed set design and mise-en-scène. Anderson's narrative style is equally distinctive, characterized by quirky, deadpan humor and a penchant for melancholic yet endearing characters. His films often explore themes of family dynamics, lost innocence and the passage of time, conveyed through idiosyncratic dialogue and poignant, often bittersweet storytelling. He frequently collaborates with a stable of actors, including Bill Murray, Owen Wilson and Tilda Swinton, whose performances complement his offbeat style, while also creating a sense of familiarity and continuity across the films. His characters are often eccentric, with unique traits and mannerisms that set them apart. They are usually deeply flawed yet endearing. The child characters often speak and behave like adults, and the adults often, vice versa, behave like children. This type of 360-degree juxtaposition of expected portrayals allows Anderson to highlight the children's coming-of-age struggles as well as the adults' unresolved issues from their childhood. There is an understated delivery in Anderson's films, and dialogue is often deadpan, with characters speaking in a monotone or unemotional manner. The fact that many of Anderson's storytelling devices may seem somewhat off-kilter to our normal environment of immediate experience should signal to us that there is something being conveyed, but perhaps not overtly. And it works. We may miss it if we face it head-on, but skew it slightly, and we cannot really ignore certain notions being suggested to us. Steve Zissou often seems emotionally detached from events, while M. Gustave in the Grand Budapest Hotel has a sarcasm which similarly shields him from the world to some extent. Many of his films feature an omniscient narrator who guides the audience through the story, adding a literary quality to the narrative. He frequently uses chapter titles, handwritten notes and other text overlays that contribute to the storybook feel of his films. The dialogue is sharp and cleverly written, filled with dry wit and irony. Many of his films explore the complexity of family relationships, often focusing on dysfunctional families and their attempts at reconciliation. His narratives have a noticeably sardonic tone. The humor is sarcastic, whimsical, and maybe even cynical, but ultimately sincere. The themes of growing up and self-discovery are also prevalent, often told through the eyes of young or adolescent characters. Ensemble casts and individual and different stories that all come together at a culminating point in the movie to witness a collective event. They all come together to get behind and share in the hero's final payoff. As Alan Watt put it, story can be broken down into 3 words: desire, surrender and transformation. Every main character goes on a journey whereby they must resolve conflict, grow as a person and overcome some sort of obstacle. In Fantastic Mr. Fox, the creature characters must form an allegiance in order to protect their habitat. In the Grand Budapest Hotel, the characters must forge an alliance in order to stave off an impending doom. Anderson's films are known for their eclectic soundtracks, featuring a mix of classic rock, folk and orchestral music that enhances the mood and complements the visual style. He often blurs the line between the diegetic, which is heard by both the characters and the audience, and the non-diegetic, which is heard only by the audience in his music, integrating songs into the narrative in creative ways. Moreover, Anderson's use of music and sound design further enhances the unique atmosphere of his films. He carefully selects tracks that resonate with the emotional undercurrent of his stories, often opting for nostalgic retro soundtracks that evoke a sense of timelessness. Anderson uses original scores as background, inconspicuous within the scene, while the soundtrack often uses a particular song to take over the scene and become a character within its own right. In summary, Wes Anderson's signature style is a blend of visual symmetry, distinctive colour palettes, precise set design, and idiosyncratic storytelling. This combination creates a cinematic experience that is instantly recognizable and deeply immersive, setting Anderson apart as one of the most innovative and influential filmmakers of his generation. Not bad for a guy who launched his career with a bottle rocket. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the bell icon for notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.